My youngest daughter remains at summer camp at Camp Ramah Darom for the next couple of weeks. I haven't seen her since, I think, the first week of June, although the camp does send photographs of her periodically, and using this incredible technology, I don't have to go through thousands of photos to find the photo of my daughter. It just tells me, this is your daughter, save that one. So I'm keeping track and I'm stalking her. And I'm thinking of her being at camp this particular Shabbat, because many, many months ago, when I was changing the screen protector on her iPhone, which had broken again, that happens about 3 or 4 times a year, I noticed that she had something on her home screen that was counting down something, a couple of 100 days later. And first of all, I didn't know there was such a thing as a countdown widget on your phone. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and you're older than 65, ask your grandchild. A little widget is something that sticks on your phone, and it's live and real time and will tell you what you need to know in any given moment. And this was something that counted down to a moment, and each, the seconds would tick. And so I asked her, what is this countdown app counting down towards? And she said it's counting down towards summer camp. Apparently what she did when she returned last summer from summer camp was to go home, put this little countdown widget on her phone so that she would know exactly how many days, weeks, hours, seconds until she would be back in her happy place in the mountains outside of Atlanta in Georgia. And I'm thinking about this countdown app, which I also installed, except I'm not sure what it is that I want to count down towards yet, because this is the Shabbat that we actually begin counting down. We often have a question of, how much time do we have left? Our calendar and our liturgy starts telling us exactly how much time we have left in 5785, how much time we have left until Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the high holy days. Now, every Torah portion is always accompanied by a prophetic reading, which we call the Haftarah, and it connects in theme. That happens until this Shabbat. And for the next 10 Shabbatot, this is Shabbat number 1, the Haftarot don't correspond necessarily to the Torah portion, but instead they correspond to the calendar. And what we are facing now are 3 weeks in which we count down towards our lowest point in the Jewish calendar, towards Tisha B'Av, the day that commemorates the great calamity of our people. Many different calamities, the prime one, of course, being the destruction of both temples, which happened, according to our tradition, on the 9th day of Av. And then after those 3 weeks, we start counting 7 weeks towards Rosh Hashanah. 3 weeks of admonition, of rebuke, because we're anticipating we didn't do what we needed to do, and the temples were destroyed, calamity befell us, tragedy happened. And then we have 7 weeks of comfort, of consolation that bring us towards Rosh Hashanah. And I'm sharing this with all of us because we often don't know what the countdown is. Think about the crisis, the war that Israel is fighting right now. We've been counting the other way. We know how many days have passed. We have no idea how many more days are left. Or think about what we do on Yom Kippur itself, when we stand before God, knowing full well that we don't know how many days we have left on this earth. And there is a power in knowing exactly when we're going to reach a particular milestone, because it enables us to better prepare. And so, since we have this week being the moment in which the liturgy really is guided by the calendar and not so much by the weekly Torah portion, we are very proud at ATJC to be announcing a major liturgical change that is going to happen starting next Shabbat. So I want to prepare all of you for that change. This is the last Shabbat that we will be using this blue Shabbat Siddur. Same blue Shabbat Siddur that we have been using here probably since the campus was built. Now, I'll tell you, this isn't the first time we've changed a book of worship or sacred text in our synagogue. About 15 years ago, we used to use this Chumash, this Bible, the Hertz Chumash. Some of you may remember it from your youth. I remember it without the cover, but this cover has lasted. But some of you may remember it looks like this. And we had a very generous survivor of the Holocaust who came to me at Kiddush one time and said, "Rabbi, I want to get a new Torah." I said, "That's very generous of you. We have about 13 Torahs. We don't need another Torah. What we need is this." And we have been using this beautiful Chumash ever since, and you can see a little bit of the wear on it. So we have been afforded the opportunity to introduce to our congregation 2 new prayer books. You may have seen this one around if you've been in other communities. It's not hot off the presses, but it's certainly within the last, it is the current prayer book of our movement. It's called Sidur Lev Shalem, and it was made possible by one particular generous donor, but individual members will be afforded the opportunity to dedicate individual Sidurim for a donation. So we will start using these next week. So next week, if you take a Sidur, you will likely be the first person to use it. And then, how many weeks is Rosh Hashanah? 10. Good, you're listening. In 10 weeks, we will be using this new High Holiday prayer book called Machzor Lev Shalem. They are in parallel together. We knew that if we were going to be changing our High Holiday prayer books and our Shabbat prayer books, we needed to do it together. So that is going to be unveiled, the Shabbat one, next week, and you'll have 9 Shabbases to get used to it until Rosh Hashanah, when we're going to rest it again and take our new Machzor. Next week, I'll be teaching a little bit from it on Shabbat morning, from the Shabbat Sidur, to help us understand the value and the improvement. It does, of course, have a greater amount of transliteration for those of us still working on our Hebrew reading, and it is beautiful commentaries, beautiful inspiration, beautiful explanations, and we'll be utilizing those prayer books. So with that, as we begin our countdown towards Rosh Hashanah, 10 weeks away, we're very proud to introduce this new method of praying and worshiping. And I was just noting with Roger, we, of course, on the Bima also will need to get used to it. We have practically memorized the prayer books as we have them. What page is each prayer? We'll need to get used to it as well, but we look forward to hearing how you feel about it. Of course, all change is hard, but this is the season of change. And so the hope is, if we can wrap our hearts, our heads, and our souls around a new prayer book in the coming, how many weeks? Good. Then we can at least begin on the holidays to begin to change what it is about ourselves that we feel we need to change, we need to improve, and we need to repent for. So with that, I want to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom, happy counting down towards Rosh Hashanah, 3 weeks until Tisha B'Av, 7 weeks after that until the high holy days, in which if you want to stay in the seat you're in for Rosh Hashanah, I suggest you just stay there right now. 10 weeks later, that seat is yours.